Mahadev, 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 Mahadev. Mahadev, 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 Mahadev. Hope it works. Can you just tell me, give me feedback on? Right. Okay, it's working. Om. Om Yo Brahmanam Vidadhati Purvam Yo Vai Vedanscha Prahinoti Tasmai Tamhadevamatma Buddhi Prakasham Mumukshurvai Sharanamaham Prapadye. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Katribhyo Vamsharashabhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhya Sarvopaplavarahitaha Prajnanagana Pratyagartho Brahmaivahamasmi Brahmaivahamasmi Om Vedantartha-vibhasakaya Gurave Shantaya Sannyasine Nanavadi Nagendra Sanghapavaye Yogindra Vandyaya Cha Mohadvanta Divakaraya Bhagavat Pada Vidham Bibrate Tasmai Bhakshakate Namostu Satatam Purnaya Bodhatmane Om. Now come to the question as how do we understand what is jivanmukti? We understand what is liberation, and the principal meaning of the word liberation then gets translated to videha mukti, freedom from acquiring any sense of limitation. Because the sense of limitation, the sense of inadequacy, the sense of incompleteness is dukkha. A person who may be having millions of rupees, dollars, still may find that whatever he has is not adequate, not enough. Not enough for him to feel fulfilled. Not enough for him to be pleased with himself. Not enough for him to discover that he lacks nothing. Because even if a person may come to this saying, Ramesh, I have sufficient money, and mind you, the sentence is not complete. With a little pause, with a comma, he is going to say, but a clause is there. But my health is not okay. I have money. I have, my wife is loving, good. My children are educated, but they are so far away, I can't see them. They are so busy in their careers that for weeks together, they even forget to call us. You see? So there is always some factor because of which the person is going to say he is some way, in some way of the other, inadequate, incomplete. The sense of lack is going to prevail. This sense of lack, this sense of limitation, this sense of incompleteness, then is dukkham. What makes you feel incomplete? Well, Swamiji, I don't have money and that's why I'm unhappy. I have a job, but I don't like that job. I'm unhappy. I cannot get married and that's why I'm unhappy. I am married and that's why I'm unhappy. I don't have children and that's why I am unhappy. I have children and they are the cause for me to be unhappy. Because all of them are out on bail. You can understand. You say different reasons. But the person is voicing his sense of inadequacy. Excuses can be different. What makes the person feel incomplete, inadequate, unfulfilled, unpleased, displeased? There could be several factors. I'm unhappy because I'm not the president of India. Somebody says it. There are so many contenders now that the new president is coming. You see, incompleteness is dukkham. More clearly you start recognizing this, your complaints about situations around you will diminish. Because then you are not holding any person, any situation responsible for your unhappiness. And when you are not holding anyone, any person, any situation, any object responsible for your unhappiness, you have nothing against anyone. There is no grudge. So naturally, the external conflicts that you have with the world get doused out. नहीं रहेंगे, provided you see this fact very clearly. And what is it? I recognize that it is dukkha means the sense of incompleteness, apurnatvam. This apurnatvam was not gifted by your parents to you. This apurnatvam, you understand? Whenever tvam is added to any word, it becomes ness. Incompleteness was not given by your parents to you, by your school, politicians, anybody. You recognize yourself as a limited being, as a finite existence. You claim yourself to be a small little finite existence, and that is dukkham. There is no other dukkham. When you are going to say, I am a man, I am a woman, I'm a human being, I'm a body, I'm so and so, in different words, you are simply claiming your limited existence. And when something that is not even a fact, when is iterated, reiterated, now is accepted as a fact. When something is told to you again and again, even though it may not be true, yet you, the intelligence, our intelligence starts accepting it as a fact. When something is hammered, iterated, you see. So this woman who comes on the Indian tea in a shampoo show, advertisement, I have got this long hair because of this shampoo. And when you are going to see this advertisement 10 times a day, you are going to imagine that maybe if I use this shampoo, I will also have long hair like her. But this shampoo was just launched 2 months ago. What happened? 2 months before, were you that bald that suddenly by this shampoo you had long hair? Huh? Did you have shining glory? But when it is told again and again, and now you start believing in it. Why do you think the politicians want to eat so much time on the TV? When they are seen more often, now you start thinking them as, yes, this is the one. This was one of the reasons why even Kaikai says that Rama should be sent into forest for 14 years. Bharata will rule. Bharata will become the king. And slowly people will forget Rama. You will forget him. The Ayodhya will forget Rama. So even when he comes back after 14 years, if he happens to survive the ordeal of that Dandaka Aranya. He has no political support. The people of Ayodhya already have forgotten him. In no way Rama can be a challenge to Bharata now. He will be diminished. He will be gone. Seeing again and again, again and again. So also over here, more clearly you recognize that nothing of this is the cause, but the sense of limitation is the real dukkham. And the sense of limitation means I call myself as a limited being, as a finite being. And I discover myself to be so small that I am insignificant. I am unimportant. And that is the reason why I want to make myself important to someone. And more I want myself to be made significant, if not for the society, at least for my husband, at least for my wife, I should be important. He struggles, she struggles. And when he or she then does not find getting adequate importance, and no amount of importance given is really, sufficient at any age, then the person feels betrayed. Then there is a grudge. There is anger. Why are husbands and wife angry at each other? More clearly one starts recognizing this, you will be able to dissolve the complexes around you. And the real complex is the complex of saying, I am this jiva. That means a limited existence, small, tiny. And the only antidote to this is in knowing that Atma, that I am Purnam, complete. I, therefore, the meaning of word I, which you already have acquired without anybody telling you, is that this I is limited, small. And its expression is I am the experiencer, I am the doer. Aham karta, aham bhokta iti. You see? Therefore, freedom from ignorance is real freedom. Liberation means freedom from ignorance. This ignorance now is expressing as aham karta, aham bhokta. Okay? Understand this from a very, very often quoted example. This is an example which you will hear 10 times in every lecture. That is Rajju Sarpa. This Rajju Sarpa is not going to leave you. You know what is Rajju Sarpa? The snake on the rope. Correct? Yeah. Because you do not know it is a rope. Not knowing it is a rope means ignorance about that rope. Because you do not know it is a rope, you misunderstand it as a snake. Now, this misunderstanding is not knowledge. Knowledge means knowing the object as the object is. If you have known the rope as snake, it is still not knowledge. If it is not knowledge, what is it? Because there are only two things, knowledge and ignorance. There is nothing in between. Can you say, I have known the rope halfway and half I still have to know? Is there anything in between knowledge and ignorance? Either you know or you don't know. There are only two things. Even when you know this is a snake, your experience and your claim is, I know this is a snake. But that is not knowledge. You still do not know it is a rope. Not knowing the rope is ignorance. And even when you know this is a snake, you still do not know the rope. And therefore, knowing it as snake is not knowledge. Then what is it? It is still ignorance, but you are calling it, I know this is a snake. No, therefore, this is not knowledge, it is pseudo knowledge. Ignorance is masquerading as knowledge. Is not it? You now say that I'm a good person, but your neighbor says, I know he is not. Your claim is that you're not going to find another person as good as me in this world. Perhaps I'm still better than Sri Ram also. I have come on this earth only to sanctify it. I'm that good. Ask his wife, ask his children, ask his neighbor, ask his colleagues. And they will disagree with his claim that he is the best. They all will disagree. Is not it? So now you have certain knowledge about yourself. I'm good. I'm great. I'm nice. And complexes are different. Somebody has this complex. I'm not good looking, I'm ugly. That's why I don't want to go and meet people. I'm papi, sinner. Papoham, papakarmaham. You have different knowledge about yourself. But we are saying this knowing yourself is not knowledge. It is still ignorance. It is still ignorance. Because in knowing yourself, dukkham is totally obliterated. The Upanishad says, Tarati shokam atmavit. Atmavit means knower of the self. With is the root to know. With, to know. What does he know? Atma, the self, the meaning of I. He who knows the self, tarati shokam, goes beyond every form of sorrow, every form of unhappiness. Tarati goes beyond every shoka. Shoka means dukkham. If you know yourself, you should be free from dukkham. We have the audacity to say that I know myself. Who else will know myself better than me? Is not it? If you know yourself, why is there then this dukkham? Either you are right or the Upanishad has to be right. Now, at this point, the one who has Shraddha in the Pramanyam of the Veda, he says, my experience and my knowledge that I know myself can be kept aside. I still say that Upanishad is right. When you are able to do this, that is then called as Shraddha. This is Shraddha, Astikya Buddhi. That you are able to accept something though it goes against your immediate experience. Immediate experience is that I am a small little person. And the Upanishad says, you are Purnam. I do not find myself as Purnam. I do not find myself as Sachidananda Brahma. I find myself as Sada Dukhi Jivaha. Correct? But you say that though this is my experience, yet I accept Upanishad saying Atma is Brahman is true. This is the only Shraddha which is required. If you have this much Shraddha, sufficient enough. This is sufficient. Shraddha, when it brings you up to this point, this is enough. Your Shraddha in the Veda has brought you up to this point. That's enough. You do not, Shraddha has played its own role and now it doesn't need to take you any further. It has brought you. To what point has it brought you? It has brought you to the point where you can question, where you can doubt. In the rest of the systems, they are going to say, you have a doubt because you do not have faith. And we are saying you have a doubt because you have a faith. The other system is going to make you feel guilty that you have a doubt. That means you are a sinner. We are saying having this doubt, is this Atma Brahman or is this Atma Jiva? This very doubt is the phalam of great punya. This doubt is not because you have sinned. This doubt is there because that Brahma Jignasa is there. The desire to know Brahman is there. Desire to know whether this Atma is Brahman or not is there only because you have punyam, not because you are a sinner. We are not making this. Vedanta Upanishad is not sitting over there to survive on your guilt. It is not surviving on your guilt. But I have no. Oh, you are doubting God? You are doubting God, that means you are a sinner. So this fellow says, sorry. I will give you donation. What is that survival on? On someone's guilt, sense of guilt. That's not what Upanishad is. Now, we understand that identification with the body, mind complex, body, mind, pranas, indriya, all these things means identifying yourself as a limited person, acquiring body. That is what we are going to say. Is dukkham. Okay? And it is due to ignorance. Acquiring a body, the body is there because of past karmas. That karma is there because of desire. The desire is there because of ignorance. And therefore, what is the cause of dukkham? Ignorance. Ultimately, beyond ignorance, does the ignorance have any cause? Why is there ignorance? Why did God create ignorance? The ignorance does not have any cause. Nobody creates ignorance. Even God doesn't create ignorance. Ignorance does not have a cause. Ignorance is just there. Anadi, beginninglessly. Avidya is anadi. Is not it, Anish bhai? महाराज जी बोलते थे, if you do not know German language, that is ignorance about German language, then I'm going to ask you, since when? Since when? And you're going to say, ever since. If you are going to say since January 2022, that means till December 2021, you knew German language, and in January, suddenly now ignorance. Is that the case? Ignorance means that you did not know. You do not know. And it is anadi. It is there since, ever since. Okay? Anaditvena vartate. Avidya. But the good news is that this ignorance, avidya, can be destroyed. It comes to an end. Ignorance gets destroyed, and it gets destroyed through knowledge. Now that means when the ignorance is destroyed, the desires are no longer there. The desires are not there. That means no karma, no kartrutvabhimana, no bhoktruttvabhimana, no more acquiring body, and no more falling in the trap of dukkham. Adi bhautikam, adhyatmikam, adi daivikam dukkham, none of dukkha is ever around. Gone. How has that happened? to knowledge. But now somebody says, Sir, is it possible to find freedom from dukkham even when we are living, even when this body is still there? Is it possible? And so we say yes. And it is called as jivanmukti. So now the question arises, how can we define jivanmukti? How can we define jivanmukti? Vidyaranya Swami says, Kayam jivanmukti, etc. You have seen the questions this morning. So answering that first question, he says, Jivataha Purushasya, a person who's still living, his functional entity. Okay? He's functional entity, he functions in this world. And Jivataha Purushasya, for such a person, Kartritvam, Bhoktritvam, these are all chitta dharmas. They come naturally. Have you created Kartritvam, Bhoktritvam? Whenever the mind functions, it functions with the idea of ego at its base, making the ego as its center. That is how the mind functions. So, what are these chitta dharmas? They are the very, it is the very nature of the mind to project kartritvam and bhoktritvam, to project the ego. I'm going to destroy the ego. Who is going to destroy the ego? So now this person, I don't have any ego. You are the most egoistic person. Just say that to this person and he will flare up. You just said you don't have any ego. Of course I don't have any ego. You only have ego. I don't have ego. And then what is this? What is this? So these people who have this claim that all the ego is destroyed and all are the most egoistic people. Are the most egoistic people who have great claims of their humility are the most non-humble variety. Then kartritvam bhoktritvam, which is the chitta dharma. Okay? And this kartritvam bhoktritvam is klesha roopam. How is it? Klesha roopam, kashtadayi. It is creating afflictions. It carries afflictions. No matter how polished that kartritvam and bhoktritvam is, no matter how refined it is, no matter how sophisticated this kartritvam bhoktritvam is, I'm a very sattvic person. I don't watch TV, and even if I watch only satsang. No, nothing else. One day my mother told me this. My mother lives with me, and then there is a TV in her room. She was changing the channels, had gone. And she told me, I'm fed up. I said, what happened to you? I'm fed up. Because no matter all the channels that we scroll, one Baba is sitting there giving some knowledge. Yeah? In India, you have several channels, right? Over here also, you have these several channels where these sermons and all go on. Why, like one channel, one Baba is all the time sitting. हैरान किया है. They just tortured me. And if I close that TV, you are sitting outside. बाबा लोगों ने बीड़ा उठा के रखा है. Even if you have that very sophisticated ego, kartrutvam bhoktritvam means ego. Okay, now ego does not mean arrogance and pride or anything. Ego means the identity with which you live as I am the karta, I am the bhokta. This is what is ego in reality. No matter how sophisticated this ego is, yet this ego means that this I is limited, small, and hence it is klesha rupam. Okay? So jivataha purushasya कर्तृत्व भोक्तृत्वम कर्तृत्वम भोक्तृत्वम चित्त धर्माः क्लेश रूपत्वात् बंधः. Now, as long as this ego is there, till then the dukkham will be experienced. And so, abolishment of this ego is then freedom from bondage. For whom? For a living person. Jivataha purushasya, dead person does not have this problem. मरा हुआ कोई है, somebody is dead, उसको तुम बहुत खूब गालियां दे दो, जी भर के गालियां दे दो, कोई उसको फर्क नहीं पड़ता. जनरली पीपल से ओ मरे हुए को बुरा नहीं बोलना चाहिए, अरे उसको अच्छा ही बोलना चाहिए. What difference is it going to make to him? He has no problem. जिंदा आदमी को प्रॉब्लम है. The one who is living has a problem, and his problem therefore is not others. His problem now, you see, the problem is this ego. That, and how can that be taken away? That cannot be taken away, because you have said these are chitta dharmas, correct? So as long as the mind is going to be there, till then the chitta dharma will also be there, correct? That as long as the dharmi is there, the dharma will also prevail. And so, how can that be taken away? The mind will not remain mind, and that person will not be a functional entity. But we are interested, we want to know in a functional entity, the person, even when he is living, can there be liberation or not? To which you have said yes. And the definition is then that bandha is kartritva bhoktritva rupam chitta dharmas are the bandha. Got it? This bandha needs to be taken away, but it cannot be. So now you are giving us a solution, and that solution is some solution which is impossible. Asambhava. Correct? One day, a centipede, you remember I told you this. One day a centipede goes to the wise man of the forest, the owl, and says, what to do? I have 100 legs, which means 100 joints. With two joints, you know what is the pain. Now this fellow has 100 joints. How? The owl said, I can help you in 96%. I can take away the pain. 96%. How? If you had only 4 legs, your 96% dukkham, the pain will go away. Now what? Chop it. What? So you are giving a solution which is impossible. To which Vidyaranya Swami says, it is not impossible. When we speak of obliteration of the ego, we do not mean destruction of the ego. Then what does it mean? It simply means that the ego can stay, but it is so subdued that it cannot create the dukkham. It is so sublimated that it cannot create dukkham. How is that possible? So jivanmukti is possible, A. Then what is the meaning of jivanmukti? Jivataha purushasya कर्तृत्व भोक्तृत्वम चित्त धर्माः अथवा कर्तृत्व भोक्तृत्वे चित्त धर्माः क्लेश रूपत्वात् बंधः. ठीक है? So now it simply means the ego has to be subdued. It may not be eliminated, because as long as you are going to be alive, till then there is a role of that ego. The ego has a role. Ego has a role. This ego simply needs to be subdued. So this identification that aham dehaha, aham karta, aham bhokta, aham purushaha, aham stri ityadi, it needs to be subdued. How? So now we come to the next question. Katham tat siddhi. How can this jivan mukti be accomplished? Okay, the pramanas he has already given in the first chapter, because we quickly want to come to the next chapter to begin. He says, jivan mukti, how can it be accomplished? He says, through the proper means, sadhana. Okay, through proper means. What are those means? We are going to say there are 3 sadhanas. There are these 3 sadhanas. Okay? Tattva jnanam, vasanakshaya, manonasha. What are these 3? Technical words you can remember if you want to. What are these 3? Tattva jnanam, vasanakshaya. Kshaya means gradual destruction. Gradual. Not overnight. ऐसे नहीं, सिंड्रेला की स्टोरी नहीं है. It is Kshayaha. It is gradual destruction of vasanas. And manonasha. The words are there, and I'm not going to give you an English replacement immediately because I expect you to get the proper technical words. Okay. Then, when we move to the definition of all these three, you can choose your words to define, to now describe it. But because you have understood what is Vasanakshaya, you have understood what is Tattvajnanam, you have understood what is Manonasha, now you using whatever words that you want to will make you know this is the object. Okay, this is the three things. So now let us move to the question as what are these three sadhanas through which jivan mukti is accomplished. Got it? So far so good? Clear? Now, so in your the section that I have given you, what is the page number here? 75. The print, PDF, whatever number it must be. Got it? The second chapter. Because I'm, going to not lead you through every line of the text. Even if you do not find it, it's okay. Atha jivan mukti sadhanam nirupayamaha. He says, we will describe to you, we will explain to you what is the sadhanam for jivan mukti. The word sadhanam just do not, means spiritual sadhana. We are doing spiritual sadhana. Because people have strange things in name of spiritual sadhana. You have to come and see all kinds of specimen in Rishikesh. No, somebody's, I'm spiritual sadhana. It's just in bikini, they are sunbathing, spiritual sadhana. Huh? Oh, everything is happening there, everywhere. Somebody said, spiritual sadhana we are doing. And come to our ashram. $25,000 only, maybe then. Enlightenment. What happens? You go over there, this fellow gives you some medicine, and the person, vomits and, what do they say? So much, he's already dizzy. Enlightened? No, not it. Give him another tablet. No, I'm enlightened. Enlightened? No, not it. Give him another tablet. No, I'm enlightened. I can't keep running to the bathroom all the time. Enlightened? Yes, enlightened. Now check your weight and see how light you have become. Everything goes on in the name of this spiritual. So what do you mean by sadhana? Sadhana, the meaning of the word sadhana is means. Something can be called as means only in the context of what is to be achieved. Say suppose you are in a pan, you are making your curries. What is your sadhanam? To what do they say? To stir it, the stirrer. કાલથા શું બોલે છે? હા, કરચી. You know what it is. That is your sadhanam. But when you have to fix a screw in the wall, now that is not the sadhanam. So something can be called as sadhana only in reference to the sadhyam, only in reference to what is to be accomplished. Then only it can be called as sadhanam. What do you want? I want jivanmukti. What are you doing? Spiritual sadhana. What is the sadhanam? He says, we will now explain. Nirupayama. Okay? Further. Tattvajnanam, tattvajnana manonasha vasanakshayaha tat sadhanam. All the three he has put in as one word, and he makes it a point of using it as singular term. All the three, though there are three, but he sees that as one. This is the sadhanam. What is it? First, tattvajnanam, the knowledge. Which knowledge? Chemistry, biology, history, what? We do not know. Tattvajnanam. It is knowledge. Tattvajnanam. Because we still have to see. Tattvajnanam, vasanakshaya, and manonasha. All these three are the sadhanam for jivanmukti. Now he gives you a shloka, an utterance of Vasishtha Maharshi. In Vasishtha Ramayana, Vasishtha says, Vasanakshaya Vijnana Manonasha Mahamate Samakalam Chirabhyasta Bhavanti Phaladayinaha. Hey Mahamate. Now he is addressing Rama, because Vasishtha is Rama's. Thank you. You are not saying classmate or something. Vasishtha is Rama's Guru. And Guru is calling, Hey Mahamate, which means the one who's understanding now can one who is able to comprehend something tremendous. Because the mati means intelligence. That intelligence which is only focusing on small things, he said like that. Mahamati, the one who is able to comprehend something that is tremendous. Hey Mahamate, because don't forget, what do you have to understand? That what is greater than the greatest. When you want to make your intelligence capable of understanding Brahman, which means that which is actually limitless, then if your mind is interested in small little things only, how can this mind now be employed to hold that which is immense? इसलिए इतना दिल छोटा नहीं करना चाहिए. तुमको ये बोला, बोलने तो. He said that about you. Very good. He's talking very, very bad about you. Very good. Mahamati. So, hey Mahamate, all these three, Vasana, Kshaya, Vishayana, Manonashaha, hey Mahamate Ram, Samakalam Chirabhyasta. Two things about it. All the three are simultaneously practiced. Not, it is not that, no, for next 2 years I will do Vasanakshay, then next 2 years I will do Manonash, and then finally I will do Tattvajnanam. So my plan is, Swamiji, in 6 years I will be jivanmukta. We had one Mahatma like that, a lady Mahatma, okay? Nothing against women. So she went about telling people, according to my plan, in next 2 years, I will be enlightened. He says, Samakala Chirabhyasta. When all these three are practiced simultaneously, Samakala, at the same time, okay? Samakala Chirabhyastaha. And the second thing is, Chirabhyasta means for long time. Same time and for long. Swamiji, how long? That long means that you need to define, right? What is long? 9 years, 10 years, 12 years. We are going to say that long till the phalam comes. If it is going to take you 6 months to reach Jivan Mukti, 6 months is long, good enough for you. If somebody is going to take 60 years, 60 years is good enough for him. Somebody can satiate his hunger with one chapati. Somebody has to eat 6 chapatis. How? Tell us what is the right number for hunger to be satiated. Whatever number it takes for your hunger to be satiated is the right number. Correct? Whatever number it takes to satiate the hunger is the right number. So, samakala chirabhyastaha bhavanti phaladayinaha. This is what it is said. Now, furthermore, sage Vasishtha, he says that in order to remove this idea that we can have that at separate times, all these things, he says, no, sir. Samakala is also important, understand that. Chirabhyasta is also important. But Samakala is also very important. And he brings your attention to Samakal factor. They all need to be practiced simultaneously. If it is not done, then what happens? Like we plan. Now only Vasanakshay for 2 years. Manonash, next 2 years. No. He says, Ekaikasho nishevyante yadyeti chirayatnataha tanna siddhim prayachanti mantra sankalita iva. Okay. An example is also provided by him. He says, Yadi, if somebody chooses to practice and for long time, still it will not yield the result. Ekaikashaha nishevyante yadi ete, all these are practiced for a long time, but individually, separately, tanna siddhim prayachanti, they will not give the siddhi. It will not give the siddhi. And he gives an example from the Vedic context. Okay. In the Sandhya Vandanam, etc., that one does, the Gayatri Japa, etc. If you decide to do only one part of the mantra and one part of the mantra in the evening, tomorrow, a long time I'm doing, because it is not full, it will not give the result. Got it? Just as that, all the three need to be done simultaneously. न केवलम एकेकाभ्यासे फलाभावः किंतु तत् स्वरूपमपि न सिद्ध्यति. Now another issue that he brings to your notice, who? Vasishtha Maharaj only, sage Vasishtha only. He says, not only that jivanmukti cannot be accomplished, but even vasanakshaya, manonasha and tattvajnana, they also cannot be accomplished if you are going to segregate them, separate them, and then practice. It will not happen. It will not happen. Tat swarupam api na siddhyati ityaha. Why? Tatvajnanam manonasho vasana kshaya evacha mithak karanatam gatva dusadhyani sthitani. Because all these three are interdependent on each other. What is he saying? Because these three are interdependent on each other. And therefore, if you choose only Vasanakshaya, that Vasanakshaya will not take place because the other two are absent. The other two obviously are not taking place because you are not practicing them. But Vasanakshaya will also not take place because those two are the causal factors for this Vasanakshaya. How does he explain that? Explanation that he provides, that how do they become mutual karanas for each other, is very, very interesting. Look at that. Trayanam etesham madhye dvayor melanena trini dvandvani bhavati. Tat, now understand this part. And in these three, if we have to make pairs of two, how many sets will you have? How many sets? Three. Three sets. What is difficult? नहीं मला समझे. Manonasha and Tattvajnanam. Manonasha and Vasanakshaya. Tattvajnanam and Vasanakshaya. Tattvajnanam and Manonasha. Then finally what has remained? Manonasha, Tattvajnanam. And Manonasha, Vasanakshaya. How many pairs? 6. 6 sets are there now. Dvayor melanena trini dvandvani bhavanti. Now that becomes 3 dvandvas. Tatra manonasha vasanakshaya dvandvasya anyonya karanatvam vyatireka mukhena aha. Now you know why will they be 3 actually? Because there is some repetition. Now wipe them off and find out finally how many pairs you have. Really speaking, only 3. Got it? You need cardboard, blackboard. Make that and see where this combination is found repeating. One can be removed. Remove that combination. Just keep unique combination, and you will have only 3 pairs. Now he says tatra. Furthermore, yavad vilinam na mano na tavad vasana kshayaha na kshina vasana yavad chittam tavad chittam na shamyati. Understand this. We'll have to quickly go through this because there is a lot to say, but lot to cover also in this few days. As long as the mind is not dissolved, as long as the mind is not dissolved, till then, even the obliteration of the vasanas will not take place. Okay? The degeneration, deconstruction of vasanas will not take place. Till when? Till the mind is not dissolved. Then he says, as long as the vasana kshaya does not take place, till then the mind also cannot be dissolved. And it is not something vicious, okay? It is not some circular vicious definition. As long as the vasana kshaya does not take place, the mind cannot be dissolved. As long as the mind cannot be dissolved, till then the vasana kshaya cannot take place. The first pair we are seeing. He says, Sir, what exactly do you mean by vasana kshaya? And what do you mean by manonasha? Okay. What do you mean by manonasha? What is that? Because the word nasha in any Indian language will convey the meaning destruction. Isn't it? Nasha would mean destruction of mind. So he says, what is that manonasha? Understand that. Pradeepa jwala santanavad vritti santana rupena parinamamanam antakarana dravyam mananatmakatvad mana iti uchyate. When you are using the word manonasha, it is a compound word. It is a compound word because there are two words put together like a car park. Car park is a compound word. Because when segregated, car has its own meaning, park has its own meaning. When brought together, car park, it gives you a still different meaning. It becomes a compound word. The word mana has its meaning, nasha has its own meaning. But when put together, manonasha, it will have its own meaning. Compound word. How do we understand this word, manonasha? Here he goes. He explains what is the first part of that word, mana. What can you call as mind? Mana. What can you call as mind? So here, Pradeepa Jwala Santanavat. Now, when you light a lamp, an oil lamp, a candle, you see the flame burning. But is the flame the same or it is a different flame but continuous one? What is it? Yeah, tell me. So it is continuous, isn't it? That is why the wick goes down. So the first flame at moment A is replaced by flame B at moment B, C, D, and therefore it is a continuous Pradeepa Jwala. Pradeepa means a lamp. Jwala means the flame in the lamp. Just as the flame in the lamp is nothing but a continuous series of flames. But how does it appear? To you, it appears as one, isn't it? So, also, this mind which appears one to you is nothing but a continuous flow of thoughts. Pradeepa Jwala Santanavad Vritti Santana Rupena. And Parinama Manam Dravyam. It is some dravyam, dravyam meaning substance. It is a substance. How is this substance? It is in a constant state of transformation, change. It is, therefore, have still mind. What is still mind? A mind is that that substance which constantly undergoes transformation. And you are struggling to bring something into the mind that what mind is not. And that's why we create even more complexes. Why is the mind not stable? It's steady. It will keep on changing. Okay, but we will see then what is that meaning of stable mind also, stairyam, later on. Parinamamanam antakaranam dravyam. So it is a dravyam, a substance, which is which is capable of transformation, and this transformation is a continuous one in form of thoughts. You can write it down. Mind is a substance which can undergo transformation, and the transformation is in form of thoughts. Another thing about this mind is this substance is going to be an equipment for you. It is an instrument. It is a karana. Correct? The word karana, sadhana has got the same meaning. It is an equipment, an instrument, a tool. Just as we are endowed with these tools, the karmendriyas and the jnanendriyas. But the karmendriyas and jnanendriyas are bahikaranas. How are they? External. Just as you have an access to the external world through this, there is a whole gamut of your internal world too. And this internal world is accessed through your thoughts. And therefore, this mind is called as an inner tool, antakaranam. What is it called? Means inner tool. Correct? Antaha karanam. Antaha means inner. And karanam meaning instrument, tool, equipment, means. Antakaranam. So this dravyam, this substance which is called as mind, so basically it is a substance, it is a dravyam, some sort of dravyam. Dravyam means not necessarily that, you can have some physical quality to it. And no, it is substance. What is its weight? What is its height? Some chemical property to it, atomic weight. It is a dravyam, it is a substance. But this substance is capable of transformations, and these transformations are incessant, continuous. This continuously transforming material is also your inner equipment. This is called as mind. Just simply called as antakaranam. Why are you using the word mind? Mana. He says mananatmakatvat, because this mind is something which contemplates or thinks, and therefore it is called as mind, mana. Okay, the word, giving an explanation to the Sanskrit word mana. Mananatmakatvat manaha iti uchyate is said so. Right, sir? Then what is nash? Because the next word is nash. What is nash? Tasya nasho nama. Oh my God, what has happened? This is, says your connection is unstable, and we try to, well, tasya nasho nama vritti rupa parinamam parityajya niruddhatvakarena parinamaha. This is something you understand. That nasha means tasya nasha. Kasya nasha of the mind. When the mind stops transforming in the form of thoughts, but transforms in the transformation is in the form of absence of thoughts. It is the transformation of mind. But how is this transformation? In the form of absence of thoughts. Where the mind stops transforming as thought patterns, this then is called as manonasha. This is called as manona. What is its implication? How we are going to see it further? We will meet tomorrow for discussing it more. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanta Shanta Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashikratau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyaptadehaaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Thank you all. Thank you very much. Now there was this, the